List of works by Geoffrey Webb. The following is a list of the extant works of Geoffrey Fuller Webb, 1879–1954, an English stained glass artist and designer of church furnishings, based for most of his career in East Grinstead. He was a pupil of Charles Eamer, Kempe, and Sir Ninian. His work, which draws on the Gothic Revival tradition, can be found in both Church of England and Roman Catholic churches, and in several cathedrals. His stained glass was most commonly commissioned by churches in southern England and the Midlands. It can be identified by his artistic signature, a spider's web, usually placed near the bottom right corner of the window. Works. This list does not include works of restoration by Geoffrey Webb, nor works of his that have been destroyed. England, Berkshire, Reading St. James's Church. Furnishings of the Lady Chapel, 1953. Upper Woolhampton, Douai Abbey. East window of the refectory, 1949. Incorporates stained glass from French and Flemish churches destroyed in the First World War. Abbot's Throne. High altar of the Abbey Church. Ceiling bosses in the older part of the Abbey Church. Bristol, Stapleton, Holy Trinity Church. Second south aisle window, 1929. Buckinghamshire, Beaconsfield, St. Teresa's Church. Reredos in the English Martyrs Chapel, 1939. Bledlow Ridge, St. Paul's Church. Second north nave window, 1926. Subject, St. Michael. Cambridgeshire, Coveney, St. Peter ad Vincula Church. East window, 1937. Little Port, St. George's Church. East window, Wickham, St. Martin's Church. East window, 1946. Cheshire, Daresbury All Saints Church, Daniel Chapel. The Lewis Carroll Memorial window, 1935. Subject, the Nativity of Jesus witnessed by Lewis Carroll and Alice, above, scenes emblematic of Carroll's life, below, scenes from the Alice books, based on the illustrations by John Tenniel. Derbyshire, Denby, St. Mary's Church. South aisle window, 1950. I am St. Lawrence's Church. West window of the south aisle, 1911. Dorset, Sturminster Newton St. Mary's Church. First north aisle window, 3 lights, 1911. Subject, the Crucifixion of Christ, with St. Martin and the Beggar. County Durham, Ushalmore Ushall College, Chapel of St. Cuthbert. First window of north aisle, 1910. Manufactured by Kempe and Company, but probably designed by Webb. Triptych in the north cloister, 1937. Subject, the English Martyrs. East Sussex, Mayfield. Village sign, 1922. Subject, a maiden holding a nameplate, with children holding garlands of flowers below, St. Dunstan pulling the devil's nose with a pair of tongs. This won second prize in a nationwide village sign competition. Mayfield, St. Dunstan's Church. North nave statue after 1943. Subject, Virgin and Child. Polegate, St. George's Church. The church was designed by Webb and J. O'Hanlon Hughes, 1938. Rodian School. East window of the chapel, 1906. Seaford, Church of St. Thomas More. The original part of the church, the nave, sanctuary, and eastern part of the south aisle was designed by Webb and J. O'Hanlon Hughes, 1935. East window, 3 lights, 1935. Subject, the Crucifixion of Christ, with saints. South aisle, east window, 1946. Subject, above Ascension of Christ, Coronation of the Virgin, and Assumption of the Virgin, below Noli Me Tangere, Angels, and Pentecost. Which Cross, Ashdown Park Hotel, Chapel. East window of the South Chapel, Cinquefoil, 1924–1925. Subject, Jesus in the Manger, with cherubs. First south window of the South Chapel, 3 lights, 1924. Subject, the Virgin Mary and angels with musical instruments. Second south window of the South Chapel, 3 lights, 1925. Subject, St. Richard and angels with musical instruments. West window of the South Chapel, 1 light 1925. Subject, St. Joseph and angels with musical instruments. Essex, Braintree, Our Lady Queen of Peace Church. East window, 4 lights 1944. Subject, above St. Michael, the coronation of the Virgin Mary, and St. Gabriel, below the Annunciation, the Visitation, the Nativity of Jesus, and a shepherd. East window of the north transept, central 2 of 4 lights 1948. Subject, the Virgin Mary and angels. Lexton, St. Leonard's Church. First north nave window, 3 lights 1937. Subject, St. Helena, St. Leonard, and St. Osoph. Little Worley Barracks, Essex Regiment Chapel. West window, rose window 1930. Subject, coats of arms of Essex County Council and Essex Towns. Gloucestershire, Alderton, St. Margaret's Church. East window 1928. Cheltenham, Emmanuel Church. East window of South Chapel 1942. Cirencester, St. John the Baptist's Church. East window. Subject, an assemblage of old glass with modifications by Webb. The head of the Christ child is his work. Coley, St. Bartholomew's Church. Southeast chancel window 1925. Dursley, St. James's Church. 2 southwest windows 1921 Fairford. St. Mary's Church. Reredos and altar in the Lady Chapel C 1913. Gloucester, St. Barnabas Church. East window. Icombe, St. Mary's Church. South Chapel, East window 1948. Leckhampton, St. Philip and St. James Church. Stained glass window. Minchinhampton, Holy Trinity Church. Altar with riddle posts and hangings. Newnham on Severn, St. Peter's Church. The south aisle windows 1946. Painswick, St. Mary's Church. South aisle window 1940, with additional figure by Lawrence Lee. South aisle window 1947-1948, with heraldry added later by Francis Skeet. Holton, St. Michael and All Angels Church. 2 windows on the south side of the nave, each of 1 light 1946. East window. Shipton Solars, St. Mary's Church. East window. Subject, St. Thomas and St. Mary Magdalene. North window. Subject, coat of arms of the Fieldhouse family. Southwest window. Subject, Virgin and Child. Southeast window, 2 medallions. All of the glass in this church is by Webb. Somerford Keynes, All Saints Church. West window of the north aisle 1947. Tarleton, St. Osmond's Church. East window, and the light above 1947. Tewkesbury Abbey. South transept window, 1945 east window of St. Faith's Chapel 1941. Tydenham, St. Mary and St. Peter's Church. East window 1925. Woodmancote, St. Mark's Church. East window, middle light only. Greater London, Beckenham, St. George's Church. South Chapel window, 3 lights 1954. Subject, St. John the Baptist, St. John the Evangelist, and the Virgin Mary. South Chapel apse window, 4 lights 1950. Subject, St. Gabriel, the Virgin and Child, St. Elizabeth, and St. Joseph. Chingford, St. Edmund's Church. East window. Subject, Christ and angels. Chislehurst, Church of the Annunciation. East window of the South Chapel, 3 lights 1928. Subject, the sacraments. Chislehurst, Christ Church. Second south aisle window, 2 lights 1909 or later. Subject, Noli Me Tangere and the Agony of Christ. Calston, St. John's Church. The west window of the north aisle of the new extension, 1 light 1910. Subject, the Annunciation and Jacob's Ladder. Custom House, Church of the Ascension. First north aisle window, 2 lights after 1915. Subject, the Annunciation. possibly by Webb. Haverstock Hill, Our Lady and St. Dominic's Church. Third north aisle window, 3 lights 1920. Subject, St. Wilfrid, Virgin and Child Nativity Scene, and St. Edward the Confessor with St. Francis of Assisi. Kensington, St. Barnabas Church. Third window in the north wall of the chancel, 2 lights 1922. Subject, St. George. Reredos in the southeast corner of the church, 1922. Subject, angels holding scrolls and the arms of Kensington Metropolitan Borough Council. Knightsbridge, Brompton Oratory, Chapel of the Sacred Heart. Decorated by Webb C. 1935. Marylebone, St. James's Church. Southwest Chapel, alabaster carvings. Subject, the Stations of the Cross. First southwest chapel window, 1 light 1919. Subject, Our Lady, Star of the Sea. Second southwest chapel window, 1 light 1919. Subject, St. Michael. Third southwest chapel window, 1 light 1919. Subject, St. Georgian Army uniform. West window, rose window 1915. Subject, St. James the Great and coats of arms. Baptistry window, 4 lights 1925. Mayfair, Burlington House. War Memorial to the Artists' Rifles at the east end of the Arcade C, 1922. Old Malden, St. John the Baptist's Church. Third north nave window, 2 lights 1911. Subject, St. John the Baptist and St. George. Tyburn, Tyburn Convent. Chapel furnishings 1936. Woolwich Town Hall. An extensive scheme of stained glass windows 1904, some of which are here listed. Entrance Hall. Subject, Phineas Pett, Charles I, and HMS Sovereign of the Seas. Entrance Hall. Subject, manorial coats of arms. Middle Committee Room. Subject, Edward Roman III, John Roman II of France, David Roman II of Scotland, and Valdemar Roman III of Denmark at Eltham Palace. Mayor's Reception Room. Subject, Sir Martin Bowes. Council Chamber. Subject, Henry Roman VIII, Council Chamber. Subject, Elizabeth I, Council Chamber. Subject, Coat of Arms of Woolwich Borough Council. Public Hall. Subject, Henry Maudslay. Public Hall. Subject, Richard Lovelace. Public Hall. Subject, General Gordon. Greater Manchester, Ladybarn, St. Chad's Church. South aisle window 1944. Subject, St. Hilda and Keedman. Manchester, Manchester Cathedral. East window of the Derby Chapel 1926. Northenden, St. Michael and All Angels Church. East window. Hampshire, Copner, St. Albans Church. North Chapel East window, 3 lights 1920-1950. Subject, Virgin and Child with Saints. Second North Chapel window, 3 lights 1954. Subject, the Presentation of Jesus at the Temple. Third North Chapel window, 3 lights 1953. Subject, St. Zacharias, St. Elizabeth, and the Virgin Mary. Gosport, St. Mary's Church. East window, 3 lights. Subject, the Tree of Jess, possibly by Webb. Complete redecoration 1928. Kingsley, St. Nicholas Church. East window, 2 lights 1949. Subject, St. Nicholas and St. Margaret of Scotland. Herefordshire. Kington, Herefordshire, St. Mary's Church. East window of the South Chapel 1947. Lee, St. John the Baptist's Church. Chancel southeast window 1933. Leominster, Priory Church. West window of the south aisle 1938. Ross-on-Wye, St. Francis of Rome's Church. West window of the north nave 1949. Hertfordshire, where Sacred Heart and St. Joseph's Church. West window, 5 lights after 1951. Subject, the betrothal of St. Joseph and the Virgin Mary, the Annunciation, the Nativity of Jesus, the flight into Egypt, and the Holy Family. Isle of Wight. Ninian, St. John the Baptist's Church. South aisle window, 2 lights 1917. Subject, Scenes from the Life of St. John, by Webb in collaboration with Ernest Heasman. Kent, Canterbury Cathedral. Stained glass and tracery in the Great Cloister 1934. Fawcombe, St. Mary's Church. Second South Chapel window, 2 lights 1931. Subject, an arrangement of fragments of medieval glass. Newenden, St. Peter's Church. East window, 3 lights 1941. Subject, St. Gabriel Christ and St. Raphael in Tobies. Ramsgate, St. Augustine's Abbey. Quatrefoil in the refectory. Subject, the Trinity, possibly by Webb. Lancashire, Lytham St. Anne's, St. John's Church. South aisle windows 1911. Subject, Northern English Saints. Leicestershire, Leicester, St. Mark's Church. West window of the north aisle, 3 lights of which only the central one remains 1930. Subject, the triumphal entry into Jerusalem. Little Bowden St. Nicholas Church. West window of the tower, 1 light 1944. Subject, Transfiguration of Jesus. Merseyside, West Kirby, St. Andrew's Church. Reredos with canopied figures 1911. Norfolk, Houghton St. Giles, Basilica of Our Lady of Walsingham. East window 1953. Subject, the definition of the dogma of the Assumption of Our Lady. Northamptonshire, Bozat, St. Mary the Virgin's Church. North nave window, 2 lights 1917. Subject, Nativity of Jesus. Hartwell, St. John the Baptist's Church. East window, outer 2 lights of 3 light window 1937. Subject, the Virgin Mary with angels and St. John the Evangelist with angels. North Yorkshire, Ampleforth Abbey Church of St. Lawrence. All stained glass in St. Benet's Chapel and the original 4 chapels in the crypt 1925. Nottinghamshire, Bunny, St. Mary's Church. East window 1910. Sutton-on-Trent, All Saints' Church. East window of the north aisle, 3 lights 1927. Subject, St. George and the Dragon, St. Gabriel, the Holy Spirit as a dove, and St. Ursula. Oxfordshire, Great Haisley, St. Peter's Church. Altar, reredos, and sculptures of St. John and the Virgin and Child 1924 in the southeast chapel. Altar and docile curtain after 1924 in the chancel. Iffley St. Mary's Church. East window 1932. Thame St. Mary's Church. East window 1929. Wantage St. Mary's Convent. East window, 3 lights 1924. Subject, left light the marriage at Cana, the Nativity of Jesus, and the Annunciation. Central light Christ in Majesty, the Crucifixion of Christ, and the Virgin and Child, right light the Coronation of the Virgin, the Resurrection, and the Visitation. Shropshire, Munslow, St. Michael's Church. West window of the north aisle 1948. Subject, St. George. Quapford, St. Mary Magdalene's Church. West window 1936. Subject, St. Wulstan and Adeliza, Countess of Shrewsbury. Somerset, Stratton-on-the-Foss Downside Abbey. Stained glass window in the Gallery Chapel. Subject, St. Basil. The reredos was designed by Webb and Dame Catherine Weeks. Staffordshire, Canwell, St. Mary, St. Giles, and All Saints' Church. North nave window 1938. Suffolk, Little Thurlow, St. Peter's Church. East window of the south aisle 1937. Subject, Christ's Commission to St. Peter. Pakenham St. Mary's Church. Font cover 1932. Surrey, Felbridge St. John the Divine's Church. East window, 5 lights 1949. Subject, above St. Peter, St. Andrew, St. Stephen, St. Barnabas, and St. Paul. Below St. Mary Magdalene, the Virgin Mary, Christ, St. John the Evangelist, and St. James the Great. First north nave window, central 2 lights of 4 lights, 1936. Subject: The Presentation of Jesus at the Temple. Haslemere, Church of Our Lady of Lourdes. East window, free lights 1935. Subject: Angels, Saints, Christ, and the Virgin Mary. East window of the North Chapel, 2 lights 1935. Subject: The Tree of Jess and St. Bernadette of Lourdes. Second north window of the North Chapel, 1 light 1937. Subject: St. Joseph. Barrow, St. John the Evangelist's Church. East window of the North Chapel, 2 lights 1921. Subject: St. George and St. Michael. North window of the North Chapel, 2 lights 1921. Subject: St. Joan of Arc and St. Martin. West window of the north aisle, 3 lights 1931. Subject: Suffer the little children. Newdigate, St. Peter's Church. West window of the north aisle, 2 lights 1950. Subject: The Holy Family. Oxted, All Saints Church. North chancel window, 2 lights 1929. Subject: St. Anne and St. Joachim. Decoration of the painted and gilded wagon roof 1928. The organ gallery and screen. Redhill, St. Matthew's Church. Fourth south aisle window, 2 lights 1915. Subject: St. Mary Magdalene washing Christ's feet. Thames Ditton, St. Nicholas Church. East window, 3 lights 1939. Subject: St. Nicholas Christ and St. Cecilia. Second north aisle window, 2 lights 1944. Subject: Above the Nativity of Jesus, below Jesus walking on water. Warwickshire, Curdworth, St. Nicholas and St. Peter at Vincula Church. East window 1912 side lights, 1919 center light. Panel in north window 1925. Kenilworth, St. Nicholas Church, Kenilworth. Chancel north window 1935. Ladbroke, All Saints Church. First north aisle window, 3 lights 1911. Subject: St. Nicholas, St. Agnes, and St. James the Great. Lee Marston, St. John the Baptist's Church. Painted board War Memorial 1923. Lower Quinton, St. Swithin's Church. 7 stained glass windows 1921-1939. Subjects mostly heraldic. Welford-on-Avon, St. Peter's Church. East window 1924. West Midlands, Coventry Holy Trinity Church. East window of the South Chapel. Subject: Christ in Majesty. Dudley St. Edmund's Church, Dudley. East window 1929. West Sussex, Cowfold, St. Peter's Church. Third north aisle window, 1 light 1934. Subject: St. Francis. East Grinstead, East Grinstead Museum. Theatrical poster for a production of The Merry Wives of Windsor by the East Grinstead Repertory Company. East Grinstead, Our Lady and St. Peter's Church. East window, 5 lights. Subject: Christ in Majesty and Saints. First south aisle window, 1 light 1916. Subject: St. Augustine. Second south aisle window, 3 lights 1913. Subject: St. Wilfrid, St. George, and St. Richard. West window of the south aisle, 3 lights 1924. Subject: Moses the Good Shepherd, and St. Peter and St. Cornelius. Second north aisle window, 3 lights 1916. Subject: St. Monica, St. Anne and the Virgin Mary, and St. Elizabeth, and the young St. John the Baptist. North doors. East Grinstead, Sackville House. Ironwork grill. Installed by Webb in the gate of his own house for the benefit of passers-by who would not otherwise enjoy the view of Ashdown Forest. Hayward's Heath, St. Paul's Church. East window of the North Chapel, Lunnet. Subject: Assumption of the Virgin Mary and Angels. Possibly by Webb. Henfield, St. Peter's Church, Henfield. East window of the Parham Chapel, 4 lights 1921. Subject: Angels, Joshua, and St. John the Evangelist. A collaboration with Frank Ernest Howard. Lindfield, All Saints Church. East window of the North Chapel, 3 lights 1935. Subject Christ and Saints. Skeins Hill, St. Augustine's Church. First south chancel window 4 lights 1947. Subject Badges and leaf pattern. West Yorkshire. Leeds, Beckett University, Pearson Corridor. Stained glass windows mostly 1906-1907, illustrating the history of the firm of S. Pearson and Son, originally commissioned for the firm's offices at 47 Parliament Street, Westminster. Wiltshire, Charlton near Donhead St. Mary, St. John's Church. East window 1 light 1948. Subject St. Michael, the Virgin and Child, and St. John the Baptist. Donhead St. Mary, St. Mary's Church. Second south aisle window 2 lights after 1944. Subject St. Francis and the Birds. Nunton, St. Andrew's Church. East window of the South Chapel 2 lights 1933. Subject The Visitation, the Nativity of Jesus and the Baptism of Jesus. Worcestershire, Evesham, St. Lawrence's Church. First, second and third north aisle windows 1938-1944. Hambleton, St. Mary Magdalene's Church. Southeast chancel window C 1910. South window of the south transept C 1910. Worcester St. Albans Church. West window of the north aisle 1919. Worcester Cathedral. South window of the southeast transept 1937. Subject Christ as the True Vine, St. Dunstan, etc. Wales. Clwyd, Andrelo, St. Trillo's Church. First north nave window 3 lights 1936. Subject St. Trillo and 2 other saints. Rudlin, St. Mary's Church. South aisle window 1 light 1934. Subject The Visitation. Gwynedd, Tywyn, St. Catherine's Church. South chancel window 2 lights. Subject The Adoration of the Magi. First north aisle window 1 light 1943. Subject The Boy Christ as the True Vine. South aisle window 1 light C 1943. Subject The Virgin and Child. Powys, Anidlows, St. Idlo's Church. North aisle window 3 lights 1932. Subject St. David, St. Idlows and St. Daniel. North aisle window 3 lights 1932. Subject St. Michael and the Dragon with warrior angels. South Glamorgan, Cardiff and Aff Cathedral, Lady Chapel. Painted stencil patterns on the walls and vaults 1909. East window 5 lights 1951. Subject The Tree of Jess. South window 2 lights 1952. Subject The Presentation in the Temple and the Adoration of the Magi. South window 2 lights 1952. Subject The Flight into Egypt and the Marriage at Cana. North window 2 lights C 1928. Subject The Annunciation and the Expulsion from Eden. North window 2 lights C 1928. Subject The Visitation and the Annunciation to Zechariah. Splott St. Saviour's Church. East window of the north aisle 3 lights. Subject King David, the Virgin and Child, and Isaiah. Scotland. Aberdeenshire, Aberdeen Kirk of St. Nicholas West Kirk. West window of the north aisle 1927. Subject St. Nicholas. Denmark. Capital region Copenhagen, St. Albans Church. Queen Alexandra Memorial, comprising a tablet and 2 windows, north wall of the transept 1929. Subject St. Hilda and St. Elizabeth of Hungary. South Africa. Gauteng, Johannesburg Anglican Cathedral. Stained glass windows in the Chapel of the Holy Spirit, 1930-1937. Western Cape. George Cathedral. 3 stained glass windows. Footnotes